another really interesting conversation we had, it was with some developers working on Ark. And Ark, it's another protocol, like Bitcoin payments protocol, with a lot of overlap with Spark. They both use payment trees as like a fundamental building block. Ark predates Spark, so I don't know to what extent Spark was inspired by Ark, but Ark was proposed 3 years ago or so.
Yeah.
And they rhyme, so if Max, if you're ever going to rap about it,
yeah, Spark.
consider.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure if that'll be brilliant or.
I think there's something around there around Noah, maybe. I don't know, we'll see.
But with Ark, there's now 2 companies that have been started to build Ark implementations. Ark Labs is one, Second.Tech is the other. And I think they're going in a little bit different directions. My understanding with Ark Labs, they created Arcade. It's more token platform, kind of similar to Spark's business and product direction, it seems. Whereas Second.Tech is focused on Bitcoin payments more exclusively.
Right.
That's my understanding. And let's see what's interesting about this. Well, I think from Second.Tech, they've iterated on like half a dozen different Ark designs over the past 1 to 2 years as they've been learning, and they just keep improving the design. And their latest design is what has me most intrigued, because from my position and Spiral's position, we've been working on Lightning forever, and it's been people have been building products based on LDK for years. Each time they do it, they run into problems. Then we fix those problems, and then the next attempt gets better, but then runs into new problems, and we keep whacking away at these problems. So the good news is, and I wrote down a list of like 20 different things.
Not 45.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't use AI. It's actually based on my experience working with people trying to build with LDK. Wrote down 20 different things, problems they've encountered, and then we fixed them. So that's great. So, and this is not a increasing list; it's a decreasing list, but there's still remaining problems. Some of which we're actively fixing, and they'll get fixed as well. But there's some that are like fundamental challenges with Lightning.
Yeah.
And anyone who's tried to build with Lightning has learned this. It's not great for onboarding in terms of scaling. It doesn't handle low balance as well, and it doesn't scale to as many wallets as we would hope in the future, because each user has to have at least one UTXO mined on chain. So you're limited by your scaling is limited by the block size.
Rough order of magnitude. What is your latest thinking with Lightning as it is today? I know there's in the future possibilities with covenants and channel factors and other things, but today, what do you think is a reasonable number of wallets that can scale via Lightning? Like order of magnitude.
Just Lightning.
Just Lightning alone.
50 to 100 million.
Okay. Still pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not every human, and certainly not the AIs.
We're not even close to that limit. So that if there is sufficient demand, Lightning by itself can absolutely handle way more growth.
Yeah.
But then it does have this fundamental limit, and no amount of it's not like a bug fix or something in LDK to extend that. You need a different protocol or some kind of protocol extension, which I'm going to get to in a minute. But I think that not handling low balances is a big challenge as well. Especially it depends on the use case. If you have someone who already owns Bitcoin and they transfer in like $500 into their Lightning wallet and they go spend it, well, that Lightning wallets handle that perfectly fine. Like Phoenix is great, Lexi is great, etc. But we've talked about innovation where like AI is doing payments, or brand new applications facilitating micropayments with the Primal and Damus as examples on Nostr. And that's where you might get an influx of new users by the thousands and millions, and they only receive a tiny amount of Bitcoin. That's their first exposure to Bitcoin. So you need, if we want to see that grow, you have to handle low balances. Anyway, so Lightning has some of these fundamental challenges. What's exciting about Ark, similar to Spark, is that it scales really well for onboarding. They can scale to basically infinite wallets, and they can handle low balances. So that sounds great, right? So why not just use Ark? Well, one challenge with Ark is that it doesn't scale well for payment volume. So as payment volume grows with Ark, it increases the liquidity requirements of the ASP or Ark service provider. And in the best case, that would just be a centralizing force and there wouldn't be that many ASPs. And in the worst cases, it wouldn't even be feasible for very large players.
Yeah.
So,
and has Ark always been kind of effectively like an alternative or a competitor to Lightning? It's kind of like a different approach, or it's always been considered a little bit of like a augmentation or complement?
I see it as complement,
but both. I think, some Ark proponents see it as a replacement to Lightning, at least for at the end user device. We've talked about in the show previously, and actually, for people that watch my Spark presentation, there's a really good slide that shows the ecosystem with Lightning Network in the middle and all Fediment and Cashew and Ark and Spark all connecting to Lightning Network. Lightning Network as a glue between all these systems is clearly a win. And so Ark is complementary in that sense. But in terms of the end user experience, I think most Ark proponents see it as a competitor to Lightning, similar to Spark, similar to Cashew, similar to Fediment, that Lightning wouldn't be part of that end user experience.
But so sorry, and just to be clear, and maybe you can explain this a bit better. So for a bit of context, and we talked a bit about this, but I remember Ark from like 2 years ago or whatever. I don't know if this guy Brock is still around with it. He was famous for breaking Lightning and then he dropped Ark. And I remember when I read quickly, my like TLDR was, this is cool, but like the capital requirement is so high. Like, it's just, okay, it's not that interesting to me. And I forgot it. Are you saying when you think about this as being complementary or competitive, I know you're going to talk about the capital requirements, how that's come down or could come down, but wouldn't anyone that's running an Ark service provider, maybe you can describe how this works, also need to hook into an LSP, whether they're running that or someone else as well? Or is there a world where they could just do this with no Lightning at all?
The Ark Labs design is not using Lightning.
Okay, interesting.
And the first 5 of the 6 designs that Second.Tech implemented didn't use Lightning.
Interesting.
And when I say didn't use Lightning, I'm talking about like at the end user client, not interoperability reasons. But
got it.
So that's why I'm saying that, like, I think most devs that are working on Ark, I mean, it's in their minds it's a replacement for Lightning.
Interesting.
But yes, I too had the exact same concern about Ark 2+ years ago, the liquidity requirements. Yet I was fascinated by all I love the innovation, like a new take on how to address onboarding scaling.
Yeah.
And so what I'm really excited about now, I started to say, so the context, so Spiral, it very much cares about how do we scale Bitcoin payments to as many wallets and people as possible.
And bots.
And well, that's what, wallets, whether it's a bot or a human, but scale to as many wallets as possible while preserving as many properties of on-chain Bitcoin as possible, low fees, instant, etc. And Lightning checks many boxes, but not all the boxes, as we just highlighted. Ark checks most of the boxes that Lightning doesn't, but then doesn't check other boxes, right? So what I'm very excited about is the last design that Second.Tech has been considering is to combine Ark and Lightning. And so within an Ark tree, at the leaves of the Ark tree, instead of having coins there, you actually have a Lightning channel or like a payment channel at the leaf. And such a design gives you the benefits of the onboarding scaling due to Ark and the payment trees and all the virtual UTXOs that it supports, but then gives you the payment volume scaling due to Lightning channels. Every time payments are made, you're not requiring the ASP to front more money during a period of time.
Right.
So it's a huge win for that.
Deal. Yeah.
And then interestingly, there's LSP and Lightning wins here too, because it'll be much cheaper to sort of right size the channel size.
Right.
Like with regular Lightning, if a user needs to change the capacity of their channel, like they're trying to receive more money and they don't have enough inbound capacity, well, then you have to do at least one on-chain transaction. Historically, more than one. With splicing, it gets optimized down to one, but it's still an on-chain transaction every time you want to optimize the channel size.
Right.
So that makes it really tough on the LSP, because the LSP will learn over time, oh, these users aren't really using the channel capacity that much. So
Mhm.
it would prefer to like shrink it because it doesn't want to tie up its capital in channels that aren't being used. Right. So with adding Ark, you're able to right size those channels using virtual UTXOs, not real UTXOs. So it's much, much, much lower cost to do so.
Mhm.
So I think this marriage can be
It's cool.
super, super compelling. So that's something that Spiral is heavily studying right now. And we're still learning.
Is it live or is it theoretical? Like, is there open source code?
It's theoretical, although another thing I learned, what's great about going to these events is just learn things you wouldn't otherwise learn. Another developer already took LDK and combined it with Ark Labs, Ark implementation.
Cool.
To prototype exactly this. And what's interesting is it requires a feature that I don't think any Lightning implementation supports yet, which is custom transactions. So Lightning has a specific script used for Lightning channels, and in Lightning channels or in Lightning implementations, that's hard coded to just that script. For using it for Ark, you have to have a different script. So a feature that Leo, who works, he's on Spiral and works out of Bitcoin. A feature he's been working on this year is custom scripts and custom transactions in LDK, so that a developer user of LDK can customize the script used.
Cool.
And like Taproot Assets needs this, RGB needs this, DLCs need this. There's lots of different use cases for this, but another user of this would be Ark. So he's made enough progress on this. It's in a branch. It's not merged yet. But this other developer, Vincenzo, took that branch, took LDK, took Ark Labs Ark, built a proof of concept of this. So it's still early. Much has to be. I see Fleet Week is now. We have live Fleet Week right outside.
Live Canadian Fleet Week. That's the state of our world right now.
But yeah, so we still need to. There's still technical questions to answer, at least for myself. We need to build it out. But regardless of whether Spiral does, it's my understanding Second.Tech is going to build this out.
I'm going to make a note of that. Second.Tech.
Yeah. Stephen Roos is the founder. Cool. He came from Blockstream, longtime Bitcoin developer.
By the way, I know this is something we talk about in the old days of Nostra News and a lot on this show as well, is like how badass that this is the power of open source. Like you're behind LDK and you didn't even know that people were building new stuff with it. That's what's so cool when you just give away the code or just give away the ideas, man.
Yeah. I love it. It's great. So I TLDR, I'm like pretty, I think this is pretty compelling as a long-term solution that checks most boxes that we want for Bitcoin payments protocol. And once Spiral finishes its homework, we could very well become contributors to that code base as well and collaborate with Second.Tech and hopefully other open source developers.
And are most of the people who've been working on Ark for a long time generally warm to this idea of kind of like the combination of these two technologies? Or are there people who say like we want to take Ark in a very different direction or keep kind of isolated from Lightning?
Well, Second.Tech it's a small team. So, I mean, I think they're they're the ones pushing this. So they're clearly on board with it. And I think that's sort of end of story. Not like the rest of the world doesn't know. So they'll learn on this show. Ark Labs, I'm not sure what their view on it is. It might matter less to them because of the product direction they're going. But I don't know who instigated that proof of concept I mentioned. It might have been Ark Labs as well. So I'm not sure what their view on it is. But I mean, Ark's still a relatively small development community. So I think the reality is there's like 8 people that know about this.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Alpha League, baby. Let's go. Yeah. It's cool.
So yeah, I don't know. Any other questions about Berlin? It was overall fantastic experience.
Yes, the Ark stuff is super interesting to me. I clearly have to do my homework because I just kind of have ignored it for a while. So that's cool. What was your general, actually 2 questions. One, what was your general takeaway on just like the state of Lightning right now? Because I think one thing that I'll get into is I have obviously on my own fun side, I've had a lot of chats with my LPs and a lot of stuff, and the question I'm getting is like, okay, Lightning is awesome. Like, when are people going to actually be using this thing? So I'm curious, like, what is your general, I mean, yes, the answer is probably we need one of these like last mile solutions, whether it's Ark or Spark or Cashy, which is my other question. But what is your general thought on the state of Lightning today? If you were talking to someone who says, hey, I've been super excited about Lightning, read the white paper in 2017 or 18, whenever that dropped, like, when does this thing go mainstream?
Yep.
How would you answer that?
Well, first you made someone asked you like, when's someone going to use it? But it's really the only thing being even used. So
I say that
people get excited about Cashew, Fediment, Ark Spark, but like there's no usage on those yet.
I say that for someone coming from stablecoin land.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Bitcoin payments from that perspective, Bitcoin payments aren't used.
Aren't there yet? Yeah.
I mean, we talk about this on the show almost every time.
Yeah.
So there's no information in this event that there's no aha moment that like, oh, it's just around the corner. This is going to happen.
Right.
And then all of a sudden Bitcoin payments are bigger than stablecoin payments. There's no discussion about that. No aha moment. So that remains to be seen.
Yeah.
But within the volume that we do have for Bitcoin payments, Lightning is most of it.
Yeah.
And so, there's definitely, I mean, there's been a growing sentiment over the years that Lightning has failed or dead. We've talked about that on the show as well, but it depends on your perspective. If you thought that Lightning was going to be the silver bullet and 8 billion users having a mobile wallet on the phone and AI all using only Lightning, well, then you didn't understand the block size.
Right.
But, we've learned other things as well around user experience. So it's not succeeded at that, but it's clearly succeeded at
the glue piece.
And what are we going to talk about on the show next? Square launching Bitcoin payments.
Okay. Well,
it's not using Ark or Cashew or Fediment. It's using Lightning.
So before we jump into that, I definitely want to spend a lot of time on the Square payment thing. My other question on Berlin, you said you got to chat with Callie. So by the way, the talks I'm most excited, I definitely want to find your talk. I want to find Callie's talks. All of his are always badass, and Alan's talk. Because I know Alan has kind of been going more and more towards Cashew as well. Any new, I don't know, thoughts, takeaways on Cashew? I know you still have your same question, who's going to run the mints?
Yeah.
But like any updated thinking on that?
Well, there's definitely enthusiasm at the Berlin event around Cashew. Yeah. There's a hackathon and about something like half the projects were Cashew based. It's definitely like, it's so much simpler that it's easy to build and hack with it. So I think, so that was one data point. Yeah. Callie's presentation, it was pretty, I don't know if it was a good presentation by him, but I don't know if you'd learned much. I mean, he went over a lot of like basics of Cashew, but there were some good call outs by him on where people could help the Cashew ecosystem. So still worth watching. I missed Alan's talk in person, but it looks really good.
Yeah.
So I've got
Alan Farrington.
Yeah. Alan's fucking smart.
I mean,
so I recommend.
I think it walks through like how the fiat system works and like basically teaches people how convoluted it is. And I'm sure I'll learn more about it. Yeah. So I do have that queued up, but I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd say that what was the vibe like for Lightning at the Lightning event? I mean, I think everyone, everyone like sees Lightning as a success as the glue.
Right.
There's less discussion about it being like the end user solution.
Yeah.
But yeah,
cool.
That was the vibe.
Cool. All right. From Lightning payments, you said that Lightning is kind of the way payments work. Is there any way that we can triangulate? I know one of the benefits of Lightning is that it's kind of privacy preserving or enhancing compared to traditional kind of on-chain payments. But is there anything we can know about the payments, like payment sizes or volumes or anything that might give us an intuition around how Lightning is being used? Like, is it used for traditional type of payment use cases as an alternative to credit cards, or is it used for newly emergent use cases that maybe don't have any other way to do it?
Well, as you suggest, because it's private, that data is not publicly available, and we've talked about this before in the show quite a while ago about how the public metrics that are available are super misleading, or like the amount of Bitcoin locked into public channels has been pretty flat for 3 straight years,
or even gone down. And yet
we know that the monthly growth is like around 15% per month of payment volume. So it's just not, it doesn't help. And I say we know that, meaning like through private data sources.
Mm-hmm.
And
by the way, I think it's just worth mentioning because we talked about this like a year ago at this point. So for those who have not listened to every single episode of PBJ, what are you doing with your lives? But just in case there's one person that hasn't, what we talked about last time, the challenge, and this has been a challenge. I mean, I've been investing in Lightning Network stuff forever. So have you. We're working on this stuff. And the challenge has always been, especially when you, to your point, DK, when you talk to people that are either in traditional payments or more in the crypto world, they'll say, oh, like, I see Uniswap has total value locked of like whatever, $1 billion. Like, and I see in Lightning, it's been whatever, 5,000 Bitcoin forever, big B Bitcoin. And they're like, that's interesting, but it's not that much. And so the point that, when I first wrote my thesis on Lightning, hell, in 2018 or 2019, 2020, maybe 2021, before I had my own fund, the point I always try to make to people is it's extremely capital efficient because it's it's Tor, effectively, it's an onion routed network on top of Bitcoin where you can't know the volume in there. And it's extremely capital efficient because you can move in this peer-to-peer network back and forth at the speed of light. The challenge with that is like, okay, so we've got 5,000 Bitcoin locked in there. Like, that tells us basically nothing on payment volume. Like, it could be $100 million, it could be $1 billion. Like, we have no idea. And the only kind of like sense we've gotten on this, to your point, is private data. River published an excellent report, but that's been like 3 years ago now. And so River was saying it grew 2,112% or something like that in 2 years, or maybe it was 21%. I don't know.
1,200. I don't know. It
was a lot.
1,200%. It was a lot. It was like 15% per month. And then through other data sources since then, I know that it's continued growing at that rate. So a very healthy growth rate. I mean, to answer your question, David, there's not like super good insights as to what types of payments are being made, but I think there's a fair amount that are gambling sites, and there's a fair amount that's people wanting to access stable coins. So they might buy Bitcoin on an exchange and then transfer it somewhere else and then get Tether and then use Tether. So, but
can we guess at the transaction size? Like, it sounds like for those use cases, they're kind of traditional types of payment use cases that just want more privacy, maybe. So would they be like traditional, like it'd be like a $20 transaction, a $40 transaction, not like a sub $1 transaction?
Yeah, I don't know offhand.
Okay.
That's a good question. I mean, I'll just put the call out there again. It would be sick if we had some website that tried to guess these. I know it's like very difficult to do that, but like, I do think that would change the questions you're asking. I think almost every normal investor, crypto person still has. I don't know what the answer to that is, but if you are listening to this and you have ideas.
Well, Spiral's doing our best to make that not possible by improving privacy,
Right.
Which is great.
But having said that, I think what will help investors and others, and just frankly, just mainstream people feel like this Bitcoin is being used is if they just start seeing it show up on websites or in person. So